In this lesson, we're going to transfer some money out of our cash tin and into our bank. So I'm on the account dashboard, as you can see, and I've got $776.85 in cash, and my current balance is $8,221.34 in the bank itself. So your numbers may differ depending on what you've done throughout the course. So if you've made extra transactions and so forth, you may have different numbers here, and that's okay. It's just the numbers change. The process will still be the same. So don't get too concerned if it doesn't match up perfectly with what you've got. So what we want to do now is we want to take money out of that. So we want to reduce this number and then put it and deposit it in this one to make this one bigger, which I know is quite obvious, but it's just good to spell that out. That's what we're doing, and keeping that in mind, we'll now go to the three dots on the cash, because that I want to do an internal transfer, and this gives me the access to a transfer. So internal transfer, I want to create a new one. And by default, when you open this up, it goes to send. So maybe purely out of habit, I tend to do it from where I'm sending it from rather than where I'm receiving it to. However, both would do the same job. You just click that this is the receiving account rather than the sending account. So the first thing we'll do, we've got a lot of obvious, I think, now fields here to fill in. Date, amounts, I think they're pretty self-explanatory, and the payment type, which I kind of just explained anyway, and the tick box is there for this internal transfer. We can put in references, check references and memos. Memos can be very, very handy for keeping track of the purpose for the transaction. So let's put a memo in there. I'm going to say transfer from cash to bank. That'll just make it obvious. Now we've got the journal. We want to take it out of cash, which is correct. So we're sending it from cash. It's a manual method, and a destination. We want it to go to bank. So the action is send from cash to bank, if that makes sense. Now you'll also notice up here it says a second payment will be created automatically in the destination journal, which is important because this will create the journal entry in the cash journal. But if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have an entry in the destination journal. So we then have to go and create a receiving one in the bank. But fortunately, this will automatically do that for us. So what we haven't put in is an amount yet. So let's put in our $276.85. Remembering that we had $776.85 in there, and we want to bring that back down to our original float of 500. Okay, so we'll assume that, and by the way, we've gone off to the bank and we've physically deposited that money either through an ATM or we've gone into the bank or whatever process you used. We'll just assume that that's happened for the sake of this exercise. So we can confirm this now, and that's done. So let's go and have a look at our dashboard again. We can see we've got an outstanding amount here that's been registered in the bank of a positive $276.85, and we've also got a negative one here in our cash because we're taking that $276 away. So let's go and deal with this cash one first. So the first thing we need to do is create a statement, because what we need to do is reconcile it, make it have it so it's got something linked up to it. So let's create this entry in this statement, I should say. And we don't normally need to do this with cash because it automatically happens behind the scenes, but because we're doing this entire process manually, we need to tell it. So we're going to, as a label, I'm going to say transfer to bank, because this is in the cash journal, and this is a transfer. Remember, we're creating this. This is just a bank statement we've seen before, but it happens to be a statement for cash. So what I want to do here is take out the $276.85 from here to bring this back to 500. So I'll say minus 276.85, and if I've done my numbers right, we get a computed balance of $500. So great, I can add to copy that in there, or given it's only, it's pretty easy to type, I can just do that. And now that that's done, I can post this, and let's go and have a look at our dashboard again, so I can see there's one item to reconcile there. So I'll finish that off, reconcile that. So it's seen that I've got that that statement I've just created has that value in it, and it's on that side because this is the minus side, this is the plus side. There's probably better ways to explain that, but now we want to get the corresponding one from cash. So this is the from cash one, and it's on the right side of the journal, so that's good. So we'll click on that one, and that's one we want to validate against to match these two up. Validate, and we get the smiley face. Let's go back to our dashboard again, and lo and behold, we've got exactly the right amount there. Now, for the bank, all you really need to do there is wait for your statement to come in and then upload the statement as we did in the previous exercise. It's fairly straightforward. However, in this case, I'm going to create a manual one just for completeness, just to finish this off, but you really probably wouldn't need to do this because you're going to have this imported as part of a either weekly, monthly, or whatever bank statement upload. But let's create one manually, just as we did for the cash. And I can add a line, and I'm going to say transfer from cash into bank, which is applied because we got the we're already in the bank thing. And this is going to be a positive number. Remember, the last one was a negative one. So this is $276.85. Let's click away. Now increases that value. So we'll copy this. Be careful there too. There is a space in between that $sign and the 8. Sometimes that gets copied across as well. So just when you're pasting it in, just make sure there's no space between the $sign and the 8. We want that hard up. We don't want to have a space in there. Click away, and we'll post this entry. Let's go and have a look at our dashboard again, and we've got one item to reconcile here. Let's reconcile this, and it's the only one left. So it's a positive amount. This is going up, so it's on this side of the journal of the item. And here's a corresponding one here. Put them together. Validate. Smiley face. Go back, and now we've got the right amount in the balance in our journal, and we've got the right amount in cash in that journal. So that's how you can transfer money between accounts within your system. And if you're like most businesses, you've probably got a couple of different. You might have a credit card account, you might have cash, you might have bank, you might have a couple of banks, you might have a loan. And from time to time you do need to be able to transfer money in between them. As I said, we did an extra exercise of creating a manual statement in bank, where really you just worry about that as part of your regular bank imports. You wouldn't need to worry about it, but with the cash one, there is no regular import there, so we just created a manual transaction, a manual statement to deal with that. So I hope all that made sense, and I will see you on the next one.